Hi, I thought I would show you all the pocket knives that I own. Alright, so these are all the blades from my EDC box. I'm just going to go through them one by one. This is the Rake P801SF. It's a very interesting, very low budget knife. It's about $44 to get one of these. Great flipping action, 14C28N steel, deep carry clip, slim, stainless steel. It's a bit on the heavy side, but you really can't go wrong. Cuts really well, great steel. Some of these apparently lose their centering, but mine has not yet. Mine has the black washer with the ball bearings inset into a piece of plastic, and it does just fine. So good flipping action, one of my recommended budget knives. And the other recommended budget knife that I'll suggest to people is the Kershaw Atmos. So the Kershaw Atmos is just really super lightweight, really nice design. It flips really well, it slices really well because it's got a nice fierce hollow grind, carries very well because it's deep carry, light, slim, excellent design, like one of the better knives of the year in my opinion so far. So even though it is budget, I'm really happy to see ZT do a sort of more prestigious version of it or whatever, but even still, you really can't go wrong with this one. Really like it. It's probably my recommendation for if you're just going to buy a knife this month and don't want to spend too much, Atmos for sure. Alright. Spyderco Delica, very sort of generic knife. I know we all have one of these as knife nerds. I generally just use it for comparison's sake. I'll carry it from time to time. I'll lend it out all the time, so it's actually not very sharp at the moment because wife took it on her last trip and did some, I assume, food cutting against a concrete surface or something. I don't know. But yeah, it'll do anyone's jobs that they need done. It's just not particularly exciting. But then you can get it in some cool colors, so maybe that's exciting. Who knows? So yeah, the Delica, good knife, competent knife. They're getting a bit expensive though. Is the Mantra, which is basically a flipping version of the Delica. I really like this knife. It isn't the world's best flipper. It isn't the world's best finished knife either. It's got the old Spyderco pivot system. That means it's either going to flip badly but be centered, or it's going to not be centered and flip well. So this one flips well, but it is not very well centered. So it's just what you get. It's M4 steel, which is something else I really like about it. It's a nice different steel to use. M4 will build up a bit of a patina, or it won't if you take good care of it and keep it coated in oil or WD-40 or whatever you're using for knives, depending on if you prepare food with them or not. This has all the good stuff. It's got like the lock bar insert. It's got good fit and finish in terms of it's not rickety or anything like that. It's just that pivot issue is present. It doesn't touch the sides or anything crazy like that, but it's definitely at about sort of like 70-30. That's, is what it is. But in terms of a good, safe design, very much so. Good deep carry pocket clip, wire clip. A lot of win here, but yeah, definitely not a perfect knife for sure. So just be aware of that one. Speaking of definitely not a perfect knife, but one that I really like is the Almar Falcon. Just really expensive. For AUS 8 and micarta, them prices are pretty high. It's about $150 to get one of these in Australia. Maybe even a bit more. Yeah, it does well as a cutter. It's nice thin geometry, good stock. Mine's been sharpened a lot and is probably fattening up just a tiny little bit, but still usable. Just that certain design. If this design appeals to you, well, unless you get one of those Kershaw ones that are all assisted, then this is the only way to get one. So yeah, that may be worth it to you, but it may not. So you're definitely not crazy if you think this is a ripoff, for sure. Spyderco Dragonfly, another great lightweight knife that is definitely not a ripoff. This one's in ZDP 189 and it costs about the same as, actually probably a bit less than an Almar Falcon in AUS 8. So very nice little knife there. The Dragonfly is just winning design. It's even though I've got larger hands, I can still carry and use it pretty well, even though it, my hand sort of wraps around it twice almost, but it's absolutely fine. Great coin pocket carry knife. I've just gone and put a Tormek edge on this, kind of flattened out the curve in there a little bit, but that's fine. But yeah, now it's very sharp, 14 degrees, and yeah, this is going to be the one that stays with me, I think, because I sort of swapped my HAP 41 for this, and I do prefer this steel to the HAP 40 steel, just by a little bit. It's very good. More testing on ZDP to come though. We've got a Farm and Field tool by Great Eastern Cutlery, not like one of their premium lines. This is just Great Eastern Cutlery, and it's a great little knife. Cuts really well, slices. It's nice and stout. It's got a lockback, which I enjoy, rather than a slip joint. But yeah, it's old style pinned construction knife. As a gift from one of my subscribers, and starting to patina nicely. I actually carry this way more than I thought I would. It's kind of quite often just at the bottom of my pocket, even if I've got another pocket knife in pocket. So very cool. This is his Leatherman Skeletal CX with the 154cm plain blade. Very, very nice. Yeah, it's a good enough knife. It's probably a bit fat and wedge-like now because it's been sharpened to buggery, because it's probably my oldest tool here. My first ever video review was on this exact tool. It's got all the good stuff in it that you need. It's got a decent set of pliers. I use a lot. I have a Torx driver on the arm here, so I use it to fiddle with knives a lot as well. So yeah, very, very cool. Recommend, definitely recommend, even still as the prices are going up. A Gerber Gatormate. This was sent in by Stu, one of my subscribers and friends. Gonna review it. It's interesting. I haven't had much like this for a while. It slices really, really well. It's got a really nice hollow grind on it. They've sort of recurved it just a tad, Gerber has, so I think, or maybe they haven't. Yeah, I don't know. But it's gonna get tested. It doesn't have a pocket clip. It's a sheath kind of carry knife, very small. I would say like a mini hunting knife or something like that is the theory behind this one. It'd be their I think it's their 420 HC. It's an American-made knife. We'll see. We'll see. And then we've got the Spidey Chef, which is probably my favorite pocket knife at the moment. Just does really well for me. Great neutral grip. So it looks all jagged and futuristic, but it's really not. This is straight. And then there's just a slight bend here, which fits in my where my hand sort of bends over really, really well. So I love it. Nice and thin, nice and slicey. Got the steel that never rusts. That actually holds a really good edge. Definitely one of my favorites. Good action. Very well fit and finished. Yeah, very just simple, good, basic knife. American Lawman, another simple, good, basic knife. This is the knife that I'll generally take to work. It's been sort of pushed out just the last few days from another knife I'm reviewing. But yeah, just a really strong knife. This one is the full flat ground, or not the full flat, but the flat ground version. So you get dark earth, flat dark earth. That means flat grind, dark earth color. So the black American Lawman will be hollow and will slice a little bit better. This one slices really well because I've heightened that grind a whole bunch. So it's very, very sharp and slicey right now. In fact, although, oh no, yeah, no, still very, very sharp. I have used this for some rough stuff at work though, and yeah, it's done very, very well. It's probably bound up with some gunk and some some stuff, but you know, it's all good. Very, very good knife. You know, it's got a stiff backlock, which is something that some people have to get over, but the only thing I don't like about it, as I always say, is the exposed tang there, because triad locks are vulnerable to pocket lint. They really are. I've had this knife not lock open and get sort of stuck like there a couple of times because it's had like a bit of old scratched up receipt and fluff in there. So I wish they'd stop doing that because it really does grab on there. Anyway, not a biggie. My other favorite knife, my Benchmade 940-2. So this is the G10 version. Everyone always asks me, should I get the 940 or the 942? I think the 942 is a slightly better one for long-term EDC carry because the G10 scales don't scuff up as much as those aluminium ones. Aluminium ones are a bit thinner towards the back though, it kind of pinches off, whereas these kind of stay a bit square until the end. I went and got a deep carry clip from Benchmade. These come with just the flat clip, so okay, I've got the deep carry one, which I prefer. Good action, it's absolutely fine steel. They're a bit expensive, and that's the only really bad thing about them, because apart from that, it's just a really good sort of strong, capable EDC knife that I just think looks the tits. It's awesome. Kaiser Vigor V3, another really good sort of lower cost knife, although the costs are rising just a tad on these. VG10 steel, very nice, just simple handle, some sort of sculpted G10 there, hollow grind, cuts and slices really, really well. This one was with my father-in-law, who properly uses knives. He uses knives like all of us knife guys wish we could, so our reviews would have more credibility. He uses them proper hard, as in like cutting bags full of like abrasive materials all day, really, really wearing out his edges, all that sort of good stuff. Testing the pivots because it'll be getting full of crap. Proper hard use testing, so you know, stuff that I have to more or less manufacture to get my points across. So yeah, but has done both of us very, very well. I've had one, he's had one. Excellent knives. But yeah, this is with me now because the CRKT Pilar is with him. So interested to see how that's going for him. Steel Wheel Modus, sent in by my buddy Frank, who saw that mine didn't go very well for me. I had the Modus that had the undercooked steel or whatever the hell was wrong with it. But yeah, this one has very well cooked steel because I did my edge test in this and it cuts for ages. It's good M390. A good sort of probably the cheapest M390 knife I would say you can get. These are about 180 Australian dollars, 190 Aussie bucks, dollary dues. And yeah, you get good flipping action, you get a comfortable grip, you get a bit of a weird, flat, awkward pocket clip, which I don't love, but the blade's done really, really well. It's a flat grind, but it's tall enough to cut really well. I've steepened the grind up just a little tiny bit. I like this shape. I like having a flat, sort of more droopy point, because I often do a cut at work where I'm sort of pushing it under things and then pulling backwards, so it does good for that. If it's too pointy, then it's not as great. Liner lock, M390, great action. A bit ugly, but whatever. It's good. Good knife. Paramilitary 2. This was a gift from a patron. So if it wasn't already being awesome by being a Patreon, he's sending me his knife. So really steeply ground. So he's done a home job on this, which is, I'd put this at about 14 or 15 degrees. Really, really nice. Super slicey knife in the 110V. Paramilitary 2. It's a good sort of, I would say, I'd still almost call it an EDC knife, despite some things about it not being that great for EDC, as a bit too much of this sticks out. You can work pretty hard with it. It's just got a strong lock. I always just was a bit scared of the tip, losing these tips, but it doesn't happen too often, I don't think. Although when you look at this military that my buddy's given me to fix up, these do lose their tips from time to time. And I really must get to this. My buddy, this is just Thrashstone. It's actually got so much wrong with it. I'm not sure if it's worth doing much with, but and it's lost screws, it's lost its clip. Spyderco are a bit tricky to get screws and things off of, but I'm gonna have a crack. I'm gonna make this a priority next time I'm on holidays, get that done. Anyway, Benchmade fact, this is something that Benchmade sent me, so it is definitely gonna stay in my collection because it's a bit of a milestone. A company like Benchmade paying attention to me, saying, hey, we've seen you and we want you to review a knife. That was pretty cool. Came along just at the right time. I was feeling a bit flat about the whole thing, so on your Benchmade. This is a cool knife, S30V, very daggerish as you can see. A bit dramatic looking, but it's slim carry. It ticks all my boxes. It's just a little bit more martial than I'd prefer, but that's cool. Certainly does just the standard EDC cutting really, really well. So I reckon a mini fact would be awesome. Maybe the thesis or the inference or some cool name like that they could run with. Awesome. Here we are, the Cold Steel SR1. Clunk. So this is an enormous knife, 4-inch blade, about a 6-inch handle, let's be real. The brief here was a folding SRK, and they've got about the thickness of the SRK in a folding knife. This is like 0.2 inches thick, so not quite 1/4 inch thick, but yeah, it's thick, heavy, it's S35VN, it's saber ground, so frankly you're not going to be wanting to make like, carrot, you're going to be making like vegetable fucking frills with this or anything like that. Lost my words. But yeah, it's just a big like ultra utility, cutting through car doors kind of knife. If that is even a real purpose for a knife, I don't know. It's ridiculously fun though, and it's been put together really, really well. I'll be reviewing this over the next few weeks. I'm going to give it a proper run in terms of outdoor use and everything, just to see what the merits of something like this actually are, because they ain't for EDC, that's for sure. So triad locking, big, robust, silly, but as I always say, Cold Steel does the fantasy knives, but they do them well. They make sure they're well put together, and can't knock them for that. And lastly, my EDC fixed blade is my Rex 121 Mako by Creeley Blades. Every now and then I will roll this in a pocket sheath, and it is great. The Rex is such cool steel, lasts for ages. I'm just about to send this off to get a 13 or 14 degree bevel put on it by a sharpener. See how we go, and then I'm going to retest that steel, so that'll be good, won't it, right hand? No, it fucking, shit. So yeah, definitely going to be a day to remember for all of us. So I'll be doing that. I want to get it above the 1,000 cuts, so we shall see. Alright guys, so that's all my EDC knives. See you all next video, huh? Bye guys.